Okay, so we are starting with radical expressions. Agreed?
Yes.
All right. So now let me start by drawing. Let me start by drawing a triangle. I'll draw this triangle. That's not a right triangle. Okay, so I want a right triangle. Okay, so this is what I want. So now look at this. 1, 1. Now, how do we get the other side? This is a right triangle. So what do you think we should do in order to get this side? I can call it C. I can call this A. I can call this B. What shall we do in order to get this, the C aspect of it?
Pythagoras?
Yes, Pythagorean theorem. So use Pythagorean theorem. So he said use Pythagorean theorem. So what is the formula for Pythagorean theorem, please?
A squared plus b squared equals c squared.
A squared plus b squared equal to c squared. Thank you. And in this case, what are we supposed to do?
Plug in the ones.
Okay, plug in the ones into A and B, right? And what shall it be?
2.
1 squared plus 1 squared equal to c squared, right? So 1 squared is what? You need
1.
to respond. 1 squared is 1 plus another 1 squared is 1, and that gives us what?
2 squared.
Yes, and 1 plus 1 is 2, so that gives us 2 equal to c squared. And then we take it over here, and then we write. So how do we get c? How do we get c?
Use it, find the square root.
Yes, square root on both sides. Square root on both sides. So you say square root of what? 2 equal to square root of c squared. And square root of c squared is what?
Okay.
C. And square root of 2. You see? Now, we just got a radical expression, right? We just got a radical number. So, you see, that's why, and we started with a triangle, and we ended up with a radical number. So now, at some point, you will start learning how to manipulate radical numbers. So that is why this topic is important. So now, assuming this, so this is correct anyway. So now let's give another example of a radical number and see how we can break it down. If we have, granted that our solution is square root of 50, is there a way to break down square root of 50?
Yes.
Yes. What do you say, please?
25 by 2.
Okay. Square root of, he said square root of 25 and square root of 2. You see? So what is square root of 25?
5.
5. Thank you. So we ended up with 5 square root of 2. So isn't that a radical expression or radical number again? So how about we have, okay, so this is our first example, right? This is going to be our second example. So label it appropriately. So now here's a third example. How about if we have something like this? Square root of 50 plus square root of 2. You get the gist? So this, a typical question of this nature will say simplify or evaluate. Simplify or evaluate. So if you have something like square root of 50 plus square root of 2, can you generally add them like that?
No.
So what shall we do then?
It's still going to be 5 square root of 2 plus 2.
Okay, 5 square root of 2 plus square
2.
root of 2, not 2.
Yeah, square root of 2.
Thank you. So now, if a square root of 2 is standing by itself, just know that there is a 1 standing beside it. The coefficient is 1. So in this case, you can actually add this coefficient, 5 plus 1, and you will obtain what?
6 root
6
2.
square root of
6
2.
square root of 2. So now, if you use your calculator right now, you can use your cell phone calculator anyway, because we don't have the school calculator. So use your cell phone calculator and then press square root of 50. You write it down. And then press square root of 2. You write it down. And then you add both of them. And let's see what the solution is. You have 1 minute. Use your cell phone calculator. Press square root of 50. This square root of 50. Write down the answer. You can use just two places of decimal. Just use 2 places of decimal. So write down the answer and then write down plus the square root of 2. Write down the answer, then add both of them together. Let's see what the answer is. So just use your cell phone calculator, because we don't have the school calculator. Which I don't think you have it with you. So if you do that, then you can use it anyway. You can do 2 places of decimal for both of them. I'm also going to use my own cell phone calculator so that we shall be on the same page. I will say square root of 50. I will hit enter. I will write 2 places of decimal. What is square root of 50?
Yes.
Okay. Let me write it down. I don't even know the answer, but we're going to figure it out. So let's say you got 8 point what? Okay, now use the same calculator and then press 6 multiplied by square root of 2. Use your same calculator and press 6 multiplied by square root of 2. Once you're, just do, first of all, do square root of 2, whatever it gives you, multiplied by 6. That's what I'm getting to. If you do square root of 2, you hit enter, whatever it gives you, multiply it by 6. What do you get?
50.91.
I don't think so. I did what I told you to do. I just did it, and it gave me 8.48. So, for example, if you do.
Oh no, never mind. Yeah, I got 8.485.
Yes, very good. Yes, that's correct. So just do square root of 2. You hit enter. That should be 1.41, and then you just press multiply by 6. That gives you 8.48. So, Carmen, you were right. So this also gives us 8.48. Okay. So that's example number 3. So still on radical expression, let's try to give example number 4. Let's see, something like example number 4, something like how about 3 divided by square root of 2? So this type of question, it usually is, it will say this type of question will come to something like rationalize the denominator. Rationalize the denominator. Have you seen it before? Yes, right? Okay, so let me go to another screen and let's try to see how we can rationalize the denominator. Rationalizing denominator means removing the radical sign in the denominator. So we started with 3 divided by square root of 2. So if we have to rationalize it, all we need to do is we multiply the numerator and the denominator by the denominator. Okay, so we will do something like 3 multiplied by square root of 2 divided by square root of 2 multiplied by square root of 2. Yes, so for example, you see, you didn't really change anything, except that you just made it to be easier for you. So you can cross out square root of 2 divided by square root of 2. It still gives you 1. You're coming back to the same thing. So now let's try to simplify this a little bit. So we can write something like 3 square root of 2, because this is 3 times square root of 2, divided by square root of 2 times square root of 2 is what?
1.
Uh,
Oh no. Is it just 2?
2.
It should be square root of 4, which will give us 2. So 3 square root of 2 divided by 2. You see? So we started with having a radical on the denominator to not having a radical on the denominator. So if you use your calculator right now and just type 3 divided by square root of 2, whatever it gives you, if you do 3 multiplied by square root of 2 divided by 2, it will give you the same answer. So let's check it out. I want somebody to use calculator and type 3 divided by square root of 2. Let's see. Use your cell phone calculator, please.
I got 2.1.
Okay, let's see. When you did 3 divided by square root of 2, you got what?
2.12.
Okay, let me write it here. 2.12. Okay, now also somebody else. Everybody should do it, but I need an answer from another person. Just do 3 multiplied by square root of 2, and then you divide it by 2. Let's see the answer.
You said 3 multiplied by square root of 2?
Yes, and you hit enter and then divide by 2.
Yeah,
So,
2.12.
same thing, right? Same thing?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You see, so we have accomplished that as well. Now let's go to, that was example number 4, right? Let's go to example number 5, still on radical expression. Number 5. Let's do something like 1 plus square root of 3 divided by 5 minus square root of 2. Have you seen this before? This type of number?
Yeah.
Yes. So our goal right now is to learn how to rationalize the denominator. So same question, rationalize denominator. Rationalize denominator. Denominator. Okay. Okay, so what that means is we are going to look for a number when you examine the denominator, look for a number that's what is called conjugate. So look for find use, I would rather say use the conjugate of the denominator. So does anybody remember what is conjugate? Okay, conjugate means look at this number. Look at this number. Just change the sign. Just change the sign. Instead of negative, you make it positive. So now multiply the numerator and the denominator by the conjugate of the denominator. So what that means is I would do 1 plus square root of 3 multiplied by 5 plus square root of 2 divided by 5 minus square root of 2 multiplied by 5 plus square root of 2. This is how to then you begin to simplify. So this is like, so now let's continue. Let's move forward immediately. So let's try to simplify this. So 1 times 5 is what? I need response.
5.
5.
Okay, then 1 times square root of 2 is what?
2. Square root of 2.
Square root of 2, yes, it's square root of 2. Then square root of 3 times 5 is what?
5 root 3.
F square root.
5 square root of 3. Then how about square root of 3 multiplied by square root of 2?
Square root of 6.
Yeah, thank you. That's plus square root of 6. Then we come and then we do the same thing on the denominator. 5 times 5 is
25.
25. Then 5 times plus square root of 2.
Shouldn't it be minus?
No, we started with 5. So 5 times square root of 2. Because 5 is positive, so it has to be positive. So it has to be 5 square root of 2. Then we continue. Then negative square root of 2 times 5.
23. Wait, hold on.
It's negative root 5.
Negative
5 root
5 root 2. Negative 5 root 2. And then how about negative times positive is what?
You
I
said
think
Yeah, I said negative times positive is what?
negative.
Negative, thank you. Then square root of 2 times square root of 2.
root 4.
Root 4. And what is root 4?
2.
Thank you. So it's 2. So now let's try to collect our like terms. So do we really have like terms here?
5 root 2 plus cancel 5 root 2. It equals to 0. This negative plus positive plus negative equals to 0. So it's gonna be 25 minus 2 at the denominator.
And you get 23, right?
Yes, the denominator is going to be 23. So we go to the denominator and write our 23. And then how about the numerator? Is there anything common?
No.
No. So you are right. There is nothing common on the numerator. So if there is nothing common, we will just write 5 plus square root of 2 plus 5 square root of 3 plus square root of 6. And that's it. All right? Yes, if you're dealing with radical expressions, leave it as where you have to do one rationalization or the other. Now, if on the other hand, if this is real world where we're actually trying to get a concrete number, or if we want to verify what we just did, we can just punch in these numbers directly and then come back to the right solution. So just because we are doing radical expressions, that's why we are doing this.